include that author thing. And in my case, I was lucky enough to work with a great company, and both the books I've done have been #1 international bestsellers. So I'm always getting reminded that I need to own that and claim it and not just forget about it. So all those things are important to help you take that opportunity and leverage it into that authority piece, right? And get that niche of yours locked in. And then people start to see you as that expert because you're published. You're an author in that topic. All sorts of really cool things. And like I said, people actually reach out because they want to interview you. They want to have you on their show. I did a live show, Bridget show, that she's in South Africa. She streams everywhere. It was a fantastic opportunity. So with no further ado, I could introduce Latara. Would you like me to introduce you? We didn't even talk about me introducing you. So would you like an introduction, or do you want to introduce yourself?
Sure, okay.
I have had the opportunity to work with Latara for a couple of years now. Oh, there we go. And I was not kidding when I said I learn from her all the time. She is an expert in what she does. She's that branding and marketing. She has 18 years of experience in the publishing industry. She knows everything there is about how to get published, what to publish. She could produce a whole publication by herself. She knows all of the ins and outs. And she's definitely an expert at branding and marketing and how you put all those pieces together to build that online presence that you can leverage for your business and turn all of that into authority. So with no further ado, I would like to turn it over to Latara.
Thank you, Alice. That was a beautiful introduction. I hope I can live up to everybody's expectations now. So yeah, I'm going to go ahead and get my presentation started. Why not? Hopefully everybody has been getting some aha moments out of this so far. In fact, if there's anybody who wants to pop up really quick and share, maybe not. Oh, was that an emphatic wave, Nikki?
Yes, that was me cheering in the background. Yes, it was awesome. A lot of ahas and a lot of good information.
What was your favorite part of the summit so far?
Well, I think what I like about it is you and the presence you bring. And then the ease and the flow of the people that you're talking to. And with that, they end up being very generous. They end up being very comfortable with us, and we're very comfortable with them. So the learning environment is perfect.
Wow.
Yeah, that's so you get a lot of ahas. Like, you know, I have to go back and listen to your work this week a couple of times to really take ownership of it, because there's not just one or two things.
Gotcha. Yes, so and yeah, well, thank you for that glowing endorsement. I love it.
Well, it's the truth, so it's easy, right?
Nikki, can Latara use that as a testimonial?
Pardon?
Can Latara use that as a testimonial?
Anytime, awesome. Anytime.
Wonderful.
Thank you.
And Nikki brought up a very good point that if you did miss any of the days, you can go back in and watch them. We have a link to all of the speakers, replays, and their gift links as well. So there's that link. And then you can also join the Facebook group where all of the videos have been streamed live, and they're going to be available for about a week before I take them down. So make sure you go back in there and watch everything you missed. So I'll drop those links in the chat. In fact, I should have gave Alice all of those links, so she should be doing this in the background. But I will get those out there.
Is that going to include the after party information?
The after party is for the VIPs. The recording of the after party is for the VIPs only.
Oh no!
But we'll drop the link in the chat for the VIPs as well.
I'm gonna call a favor, and I'm gonna say it's my birthday and I'm not going to be here for their after
Oh,
party today.
no.
And I
Oh,
really want to hear it. This is the one that I want to hear the most. So think you could have a birthday treat for me?
Okay,
Great.
I guess I will. Since you gave me such a great endorsement, I guess I'll have to honor that.
Okay. Oh, well, I was calling it on the birthday. Call it a birthday gift.
Yes. Okay. Will
Okay,
do.
so I'm taking you in the car now, and I'm going off to the city. So, but I love listening to you. So I'm just gonna turn me on mute, and you'll
All
still
right.
see me, but a lot of
Sounds
movement
good.
and stuff going on. Okay.
All right. Thank you very much.
Okay. Love you
Great.
too.
Aw,
The Alice and you, I just love you too. So I'm just gonna sit back and relax now.
all right.
Thank you,
Yes,
Nikki.
everybody just sit down and relax and get comfortable. And I'm going to go walk you through my presentation here. So just do this. There we are. All right. Oopsie. And of course I clicked on the wrong one there. There we go. There we go. All right. All right. So today I'm going to talk about how to create a strong online presence by having a voice. I'm going to go over 6 little known strategies to get noticed online and attract your ideal clients. So unlike yesterday's version of creating your brand with your voice, this is going to be a little bit different from Vaughn's audio strategy. But how to create a strong online presence by having a voice. We'll be talking about how to brand yourself, stand out from the crowd, and attract your ideal clients with a professional looking social media profile. First of all, who am I? Alice gave a really good introduction there, but I'll just go a little bit deeper. In 2002, I started at Dream Homes magazine as a photographer. And this photo that you see here was my first, very first photo featured on the cover, one of many. And there's a funny story about that because I got hired on to do lifestyle and community photography for Dream Homes' website. But my boss, I guess, wanted to test my skills. So he took me to go to this $10 million house. I think this is like either La Jolla or Del Mar. And we had a contest. So he and I both went around and shot the whole house. And we came back to the office and said, okay, which one of us is going to get the cover? And this was the winning photo. So that was my introduction into Dream Homes. And from there, I worked many years, and my job description kept expanding and expanding to the point where I was the photo editor, the editorial manager, the marketing manager, the art director. So I just took on more and more hats as I went along. And I got to see the behind the scenes during Dream Homes' heyday. If you recall, the period of time between 2000 and 2006, there was it was like a house renaissance, and everybody was selling houses like crazy, and the prices just kept going up. So I got to see all of that. And then in between 2007 and 2008, as you'll recall, was the Great Recession. And the staff went from about 50 people down to about 10 people. And I was one of the lucky people that got to keep their job. And before the recession, this magazine here, Dream Homes San Diego, was the flagship product, and it was around 400 pages a month. After the recession hit, we were struggling to make it about 100 pages a month. So we had to go from the vertical of San Diego Magazine to a horizontal spread where we branched out into a lot of different things. We started Mega Dream Homes Magazine, Open Dream Homes Weekly. We started The Villager, which is a tabloid magazine, tabloid newsletter kind of thing. And we had a edition for La Jolla, Coronado, Del Mar, and Rancho Santa Fe. We expanded the website. We tried to do Airbnb type of competition type thing. So we had to just expand sideways when we were trying to survive from the recession. So I learned a lot of things from that. And I fast forward to when the COVID shutdown happened. I thought that I had job security, but I was laid off. So March 31st, so it went from March 15th, everybody was sent home to work from home. And then March 31st, my boss called and said that I'm laid off. And then I wasted no time. April 20th of 2020, I had already incorporated my business. So you would think that I learned my lesson, but I tried the magazine thing again. This time I was living in Alpine, and I tried to run my own local community magazine just for that area, locally distributed and everything. I struggled with that for about a year, and I finally realized that I needed to go into a different direction, because it was clear to me that that the people that were normally advertising in print were switching over to doing all of their marketing online. And so that's what I did. I pivoted as well. And I decided I'm going to take online marketing by the horns and go all the way into that field. And that's the direction that I've been going in ever since. So that's a little bit about me and my background. Sorry, let me get a sip of water. So now I am the CEO of Ideal Marketing Solutions. Like Alice said, I have over 18 years of experience in graphic design, branding, marketing, and I've worked with companies like Dream Homes, Berkshire Hathaway, Pacific Sotheby's, Hot Living, Marilyn Hoffman International, Discover Magazine, Average Stunts, Meredith Bear, and Eric Lofholm International, among others. All right, so what does a sea of penguins have to do with online marketing? If you can imagine standing here in this scene, you can only imagine the cacophony of noise that is occurring here with thousands, if not tens of thousands of penguins all cawing and screeching at the same time. And yet, penguins mate for life, which means when a penguin's partner goes off to go fishing for the day, and then they come back at the end of the day, somehow in all of this chaos, they're able to find each other again. And how do they do that? They do it by having a voice. So all of your competitors, imagine all of your competitors are all of those penguins, and they're all trying to get the attention of your ideal clients. So what you need to do is you need to have a voice just like those penguins that find each other. So when it comes to your online presence, you want to have a voice to cut through the noise and get noticed. Your branding is your voice. You want to position yourself in front of your ideal client at the point when and where they are seeking you out. So let's break down what I mean by a voice. You want to be accessible and attractive, visible, omnipresent, informative and interesting, convenient and clear, and engaging. So the first one, accessible and attractive. First and foremost, you want to have a professional looking online presence. This can be done with your profile pictures on social media. Ideally, you would want to get a professional photo done, but if you can't do that, there's, you can get a pretty decent headshot inexpensively. So you don't want to have party pictures. So you want to have a functional and appealing website and landing page as well. So just, make sure that you have that first impression up and running so that you're putting your best foot forward when people first come to your social media, when they're hear your name and they're like, I want to go check this person out. So you might not want to have photos like these. Party photos, duck face. Can we just do away with the duck face? I don't know if I'm offending anybody here, but I'm on a mission to rid the world of duck face. Just kidding. All right, so visible, you want to make sure you have an online presence. It's surprising to me how many people don't have a website or they don't have a social media profile. If you own a business, you have to have both. So what you also want to do is you also want to post visual content on your social media because all too often, if you go to somebody's business page on social media and the last thing that they posted was 3 years ago, you're probably going to think that they're out of business. So you want to always be posting. You want to make sure that your social media accounts are active. Another thing that you can do is create memes. So you would have an image and text. You can also have branding elements such as your colors, your logo, and this increases your brand awareness. And a visual post is more likely to be seen than a text post. So that's just something to be aware of. And one more thing, if you do have something on there, like if you post like a quote on a beautiful background, you want your logo on there because some people will share it, but they won't share your link as part of the thread. They might like download the photo and then post it again. So that's another reason why you want the imagery and your branding elements connected so that people are less likely to just, plagiarize your stuff without your benefit. All right, next you want to be omnipresent. So there are two schools of thought here, just to take a step back for a moment. Some people believe that you should only be on one social media platform at a time. But what I am saying is that while you want to master one at a time, your overall goal should be to eventually be on more than one social media platform. And that's because people are coming from different directions, right? They're not all coming from one direction. Some people will be active on Facebook, some people will be active on LinkedIn, and some people, Instagram is their jam. So you want to be everywhere. And the more times people see you, the more you'll stay at the top of mind. So other things that you can do to stay on top at top of mind awareness is through ads, posts, messages, calls, texts, etc. Just a little pro tip. Not a lot of people know this, but if you message people, your posts, I should say, if you message somebody and they message you back, your posts will show up on their feed more often. So that's a little pro tip there, ninja tip. Next is informative and interesting. So if you are providing information to your audience, they will want to hear from you and keep coming back again and again. So you want to do two things. You want to make your posts informative, not only to bring them back again and again, but also because you're establishing yourself as an authority. So if you keep talking about a certain topic, that would be ideal. And so people will realize that you're a go-to for good content. You can also do things that are inspiring or interesting. Mix it up a little bit. Don't just have everything, one-dimensional. Don't just have everything about your business. You want to talk about, here's some samples that you can use. You can do videos of awesome technical marvels. You can use photos of beautiful places on Earth. You can do stories about strange occurrences. You can share other people's content. It doesn't have to all be your content. You can share informational articles and tips that pose you as the authority in your niche, and you can do inspirational quotes. You would like ideally to post things that have the potential to go viral because it's just that good. It's that interesting. People will look at it and go, wow, I need to share this with somebody, or that inspirational quote was just what I needed to hear today, and they'll post it on their wall. So that's the kind of content you want to go after. Next, you want to make sure that your online presence is clear. You want to make sure that what your business is, what you're doing, how you help people is very clear. You don't want to be ambiguous, and you don't want to be all over the place, because the people will connect you to a certain topic as the authority, as the go-to person for that topic. So that's why you want to make sure that your message is very clear. And if people were to go to your landing page or your website or your social media profile, that they can understand in just a few minutes what it is you do. On top of that, you also want to make things very convenient. You want to clear all of the obstacles out of the path between your ideal client and taking them through your customer journey. And remember that a confused prospect will not buy. So you want to only offer maybe 2 or 3 options at any given point. And you want to clear the path so that they don't get confused, or they don't get overwhelmed, or they don't get distracted, because you want to make the point A to point B just a seamless process. So clear the path from wherever your prospect is to the customer journey you want them to experience with you. So one of the things that you would want to do is, if you are trying to set an appointment with somebody, you, instead of saying, what time works for you? Or, call me, or, just give them your phone number. Instead of doing something like that, either say, hey, I have today at 7 o'clock or tomorrow at 10 o'clock, which one works for you? So you're only giving them 2 options. You can also send them your Calendly link, because that is very convenient for them to just go, okay, yeah, I can just click on this and yeah, I'm available then. But that's one of the things you want to do, is you just want to make things crystal clear, convenient, easy. Otherwise you'll give the person an excuse to not move forward. So the next thing is engaging. You want to keep people engaged. Interact with them if they react to your content. You want to, if they make a comment back. It's also awesome if you use visual elements when you're commenting back. So you can use emojis or stickers or GIFs. And you want to just keep that dialogue and that thread active, because if you do that, that will boost the algorithms for that post on social media so that more people will see it. Because you know, companies like Facebook, they want to encourage that type of content. And if people are engaged and interacting on it, that means that that the audience is finding it valuable, and that's how they gauge the algorithms. So definitely, if you do posts like if you ask a question, try to ask like an engaging question that would get somebody to say, like to comment with a description or a sentence instead of just a yes/no question, ideally. And goodness, I don't know why my mouth is so dry. Sorry about that. So another thing you want to do is when you're posting questions like that, like probing questions, you want to use those graphics that are already pre-made by, like if you're on Facebook, they'll either have like the colorful backgrounds if you type like 140 characters or less, but they'll also have the ones where you have your avatar. So if you don't have an avatar, I strongly suggest you create your avatar so that it's more customized to you. People can, when they see your post, they can connect it to you. And that in essence is also an extension of your brand. Okay, so these are all really good tips for how to increase engagement on social media. And there you go. This is an overview of what we just went over. So if you want to, you can take a screenshot of this to remember all of these topics. I'll just give you a second there. All right, so in the vein of being visible and making sure that your information is readily available and convenient to people, I posted a few of my links here. So you can also take a screenshot of that if you want to get a hold of me through Linktree, Facebook, and I can't see the last thing because of the Zoom stuff here, but all right. So first I want to gift you with a cheat sheet of what we just went over, as well as a ebook that kind of dives deeper into all of the subjects that I just talked about. So you can go to avoice.online to grab those. And if you want even more, I would like to share with you a new course that Alice and I have put together. And it's called The Journey to Success, the Business Navigation Course. It is actually several classes put together into one 7-week program. What we're going to do is we're going to go over identifying your goals, creating an action plan, optimizing your time management and productivity. You get a Facebook profile makeover. I'll share with you how you can create your own social media graphics, as well as set up your lead magnet, and we'll help you build your sales funnel. So the first two classes will be taught by Alice Pallum. I don't know, Alice, if you want to come on and talk about your time management and your goal setting classes.
Sure, thank you. You did such a great intro already. I was going to say you never know, you help me market these things. you're good at that. So we're going to start off with, as Latara said, 2 of my workshops, all about setting your goals, a real plan for your goal, the doability of it, where's the time on my calendar of it, which rolls right into the time navigation class, which helps us identify your productive time of day, how to help you work around your natural rhythms, of that productivity, some tools to keep you on track, to help you when you need to be productive, or on when it's not your productive time of day, and make some time in your day so that when you learn what Latara is going to teach, you'll have time to do it.
Boy, my throat is so dry. Okay, I'm sorry about that. So yeah, okay, so there is the time navigation class and the goal setting workshop. Each is a $197 value on their own. And Alice has taught both of those several times independently of this. So next, what you'll be getting from my side of things is the online presence blueprint. And I will be going over how to optimize your social media profile. There are some people that are requesting that they don't want to touch their personal profile, but if that's the case, I can help you with your business page or your Facebook group. Next, we're going to be working on our own lead magnets, so help you with the creation of your own lead magnet. And the third class will be actually putting together your sales funnel. All right, let me just move some things out of the way here. Sorry about this. All right, social media profile. So unlock the power of social media and expand your online presence, visibility, and credibility. That's a $97 value. And the lead magnet creation, attract your ideal clients and skyrocket your email list with our lead magnet creation course. That's a $97 value. And the sales funnel building, set your marketing efforts on autopilot, transform your business with an effective sales funnel. That's a $147 value. Whoopsie. All right, so that's all of the, that's a overall breakdown of the classes once again. So the total value is $735, and you can get in today for just $197. It's 5 classes, 7-week training in a group coaching setting on Zoom, kind of like we are now, and it's Alice and myself. So if you're interested in that, you can pick up your phone and scan that QR code and it'll take you to that link, or you can go to bit.ly/journey-to-success-course, all lowercase. So there you go. You can take a screenshot of that if you need to. And I will also put the links into the chat for you for that and the free cheat sheet and ebook. All right. So there we have it. Any questions?
I think that was fantastic, Latara. Woo!
Thank you.
And I do learn new things every time I listen to you, even though I've seen you do some of those things before. I wonder if there is a trick to that whole avatar piece. I am not a fan of the avatar I have. I've tried to play with it. After they changed it, whatever their system was, I loved my avatar. And then Facebook changed something, like a year ago or something, and I've never liked it since. I keep trying to tweak it and play around with it, and I don't like it, but I do have a purple suit on it, so it helps with my branding.
It took me a while to warm up to it because I had that same experience. In fact, right when they transitioned from the old style avatar to the new ones, I created a post that was like, be careful when you rebrand or something like that. Because it was just like, sometimes people rebrand and it's not an improvement. So, but I finally, embraced it, and I went in and tweaked it a little bit. It made it look better. And, I realized that my hair color changed. And so, yeah, I kind of updated it a little bit, but yeah. It's something that, I know that some people aren't keen on it, but it's just another way to brand yourself.
And when you said that, I started paying more attention to that. Even like I said, I don't like it, but maybe I should use it more for that reason. Because like I said, it does have purple on it. It does have some things that are me-ish, right?
Okay, so Kimberly, can you come off mute for a second? I'm not sure what your question means.
Oh, I'm so worn out that I skipped an I am and a few other things.
Oh,
No. I was saying that there was lots of good information. You gave us lots of good information. I took notes. And I always think that when I hear the same things from people, it's a good thing a lot of times. And yeah, I probably have heard most of the things you said a lot of times now, because I've been doing this kind of stuff. And what you said, and you did say, on several platforms, and some folks say, no, be really focused on one. And so, and actually, I really think it's more be very, very present, very good at one, because Facebook and how you approach it and how you interact with people is very different. Even the perspective of people. People have been talking about that a lot lately on LinkedIn. That kind of stuff. And I don't want to say, but I want to say today, Latara, on LinkedIn, I might have had many more than 100 notifications. Okay. And, you talked about being consistent, and I've been working at this since about July. I even had a little thought today, well, maybe this is okay, the many, many hours that I have to spend on attending to this stuff, because my business is not where I want it to be, just being 9 months out, right? I guess when I really got 7 months, really, what's this? Yeah, that's 7 when I really said, okay, you got to do this now, and you really got to do it. But what I think, though, is I thought today when I was driving home at one point, what would I be doing? I said, now, if I go back to a federal job, I'm going to have to minimize the business. But if I go to a private university or something, I may not have to. But what would I be doing if I didn't have to? I had never thought this thought before, but I just had it. So I'm going to say it out loud. Babysit this stuff all day long. So now I think, and I know folks who are doing it really well, and I can see how it begins to build on itself. All of those things are happening, all those things I can see. And I look at and I thought about like someone, there's Elise Craft that I know real well. And I thought, Elise has like 26,000 followers. And I remember she celebrated in October when she had 24,000. And she just has 26 now, because you have to you really become strategic about who you're connecting with, who you respond to, all of that kind of stuff. But I laughed and I said, yeah, Anise and Mina, they have people doing a lot of this for them. Okay. And so what are your suggestions for folks who are, and you're fairly new in your business, at the times, what are your suggestions for folks? Because I'm saying, I know it's been more than 100, it's many more than 100 notifications today from LinkedIn. I just looked at Facebook. They're not as many, but I put up a new photo and I was shocked on Sunday because in one of our summits, you said, be consistent, maybe the Thursday, Friday speaker, I don't remember. Be consistent about your look across platforms. And I still had up my pandemic sticker on Facebook. I have, and I don't post on Facebook. I probably might post on LinkedIn about 4 to 5 to 6 times a week, because I've been taught, be consistent, do this, blah, blah, blah. But I thought, well, okay, maybe I can take down my pandemic sticker from Facebook. Okay, I'm going to do that. And I put up the picture that I have on LinkedIn. And you want to talking about generating 90 something comments. I'm like, what is up with you people? Okay. Why? And I'm the kind of person, though, that I want to say thank you, and to everyone, and if they make a comment, I think it's very important. Some guy took a quiz today and he said, I'm a something collaborative guru or something. That's my archetype. And that's the person who can lead everyone, who's very magnetic, cares, group guru, cares for people, is the head of the vision. My subtype is visionary, but who takes it and, okay. So I don't feel like if you spend the time and like my picture or comment on my picture, I just put up my pictures. I said this first, well, I had this picture for 6 years now, and it's been up on LinkedIn for like 2 or something, this is over. Like, wow, so it just seems to me, how do we attend to it and attend to the other aspects of our businesses and our lives too?
Okay. So when you said babysitting, were you referring to the social media platform?
Yes, and I never had that thought until I got ready to say it to you. But maybe I'm just worn out from the 100 and about 40 notifications and many comments and stuff from my thing today on LinkedIn. Okay.
Got it. No, you did the right thing. Updating your photo is perfect, and actually responding back and commenting is perfect. If you can't get through all of them, at least like them or love them or react to them in some way. So that's good. Everything you've been doing is good. Now, as far as I get the feeling you're getting overwhelmed from the social media part.
And before this, like I had a LinkedIn since, let's say 2011. So I had I don't know how long the Facebook is, but I know I went to Ghana 1 week in 2012. And I hadn't been on Facebook in some time. So I got on Facebook in Ghana and the notifications about drove me crazy. So after like 2 weeks, I shut it down. And when the pandemic came, people, you want to reach out to people and stuff. So I got on Facebook in 2020, March of 2020. This guy wrote me and said, "Where have you been?" He was this guy I had met in Ghana, right? And all these people. So I was more present for about 4 months during the pandemic. And I think that I started doing a little bit more on LinkedIn when I was at the VA in 2021, but been really using LinkedIn from learning from people like you, taking courses and that kind of stuff, LinkedIn, and it's major. I mean, the amount of time, I'll be honest, and I interact with people all over the world, so I'm probably a little irritated with myself, and I should be, but I've been being up until about 3 a.m. and getting up at 8 since about last Wednesday. Okay, so interacting with these people, and from this test I took today, I guess that's what that person does, that kind of thing. But how do you get more strategic? And this is a growth period, I understand that. But your framework you gave us was a very good one. But you said be accessible, be omnipresent, and all these things. So what do we do?
Well, that's an excellent question. And I could dive deeper into it in my course, but to give you the short answer, so it's funny because people go through this evolution of people are spending way too much time on social media, and they're scrolling, and they're just socializing, and then the entrepreneur gurus say, stop wasting your time on social media, you need to be working in your business. And so then they go through these systems of working on their business and getting coached, and then the coaches are basically like, okay, go do business on social media, because that's where you're going to get the business from. So then you have to go backwards, and then you're spending just as much time on social media as you were before under the business strategy part of it. But yeah, having a strategy and being deliberate when you're spending time on social media is a good point, and that I feel like you've already been doing that. Also, you do not have to be posting 3 times a day.
Well, not posting.
I'm probably going to get backlash for saying
it's a post, but all these comments and interaction. All these comments and interaction. I mean, posting. Is this only Tuesday? Oh God, it feels like Saturday again. But you know, posting, and I've been trying, you know, post, like I said, between 4 and 5 times, because there's all this thing about the consistency and, you know, and I'm
5 times, how frequently?
not a day. I mean, the posts, but the interaction with other people's posts, as well as with the reactions and interaction with mine, take up the bulk of the day.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's not the posting.
Okay, so yeah,
you so good at posting now.
You could literally get away with, if you're super busy and you don't have all the time to spend, you could literally get away with posting once per week. Now, a lot of social media people will probably get on my case about this because they say, oh, you should post every day. You know, consistency is good, frequency is good, but do what you can. You don't have to overwhelm yourself. You know, three times a week is perfect. You know, that's enough to keep your visibility, to keep your engagement going. You also don't have to go back to the comments for the same posts every half an hour. So what I like to do is sometimes I will do the bulk of my social media, you know, engagement at the end of the day, because I know that, you know, there's a lot of business stuff that is time sensitive. So I like to do it between the 9 to 5 range. And then there's other things like social media that, you know, if you are commenting on something, you know, if you're getting back to somebody's comment and it's midnight, who cares? I'm not saying stay up all night, but that's what I end up doing.
That's what's been happening too.
But yeah, so I would try to keep your time strategic, and maybe Alice, you might be able to say something about this as far as blocking it on your calendar. Because one thing that you know, Alice really helped me with is blocking activities on my calendar, because before I would put things on my calendar that were like appointments or deadlines, but what I wasn't putting on there was, you know, spend 30 minutes on Facebook, or you know, spend an hour you know, doing leads, or you know, whatever the activity is, right? So
doing the work time and the thinking time. And that kind of time, not just appointments.
Yes,
that's
exactly
it is I was going to add, that being strategic about the time you're investing in this and where does it fit best in your day.
Yeah, the time blocking is so important. And I'll be honest, I haven't been as disciplined, though I know that I teach it, and haven't been as disciplined lately. I've been being more reactionary, and I know how you take yourself down this rabbit hole with that. You know, you can have time suck. And I think that what it is I operated at such a high level in the businesses and stuff I ran for other people. And I hate this because it's not good I just love being busy, but I teach people to be productive, not busy.
Yes.
Okay.
And sometimes we're our own worst enemy in many ways, right? We can help somebody else do X, Y, and Z, but when it comes to us doing X, Y, and Z, we struggle a little bit, or need that outside influence to be that accountability partner, or that bouncing, you know, back and forth person to help you keep yourself on track.
Yes, and thank you for answering my question and interacting with me. And I'm taking up a lot of time, so I'm gonna if we were on audio, I would come down from the stage now. Like when you're on the audio, they say, you know, I'll bring you up on stage now. I'll take you down. You can go down now. You know.
Oh no, I loved that question. But yeah, I think that mainly if you block your social media activities to certain times of the day and keep it to that time frame, I think that will get rid of a lot of overwhelm. Because let me guess, are you going to social media throughout the day and it's kind of scattered?
Oh, absolutely. Now, yes, I have started doing that. So
maybe it won't feel like it's filling up as much time if you're you know, restricting it to a certain time each day.
Yeah.
And trying to keep it focused on your work part and not get drawn into too much other stuff, right?
Yeah. And you know, I can say, it's very important in today's world. I was going to say I wasn't a social media fan or anything like that. And, that's why I could get on in 2012 and not get on to 2020, that kind of stuff. But I see the utility and the necessity of it in today's world. And I am open to learning everything that you need to do and should be doing, in order to operate in the world. But, and I feel like one post, I was doing it like I was writing an academic tome, and one post might take me 3 days, 4 months ago. And I am coming up, I've always been a writer, so things are coming up to me today. I made a couple quick notes about something. Oh, those are gonna be posts. I'm gonna build off of those. And so you can see the evolution of it. And I would say to any of us who haven't been doing this yet, and it's been made so clear to me, we all need to do it, from everyone like Latara and Alice and all kinds of folks who are ahead of me in this journey. I have gotten so much better at it since July. It's just astounding.
Excellent.
And followers and my impressions, and I was a scientist, so the impressions things and the analytics can get me too. But if you don't do the stupidness all day long, they start giving you these things. You drop 22%. Yeah.
Don't worry about it.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that if you're, like you said, you're using the word strategic there. If you're focusing on producing content as opposed to being a content consumer, that'll keep you on track. Another thing is you can repurpose your content, so you don't have to rewrite a new thing every single time. That is, I think that trying to remember who was it this past week during the summit mentioned that you can use the content in your book as your social media posts, and you if you haven't written your book, you can use your past social media posts, your YouTube videos, all the stuff that you've ever created, compile that together and create your book. So it works both ways. You can repurpose your content. It saves you time, and it keeps your content kind of consistent because you're always talking about the same topics.
Linda said that. Vaughn alluded to it.
Was it Linda? Okay.
And Vaughn alluded to it too last night. So
yeah.
And thank you. I just have to say, Alice, Nikki said it. This has been such a fabulous, I have so many words I can use, so I got stuck, but such a fabulous opportunity. I'll just use that word, or a trove of nuts, pearls, and actionable things. So
wonderful.
I want to thank you all for that, because I do a lot of this. I have to stop myself. I had to stop myself around September, stop learning and do.
Yes. I went through that phase too. Yep.
So, I thought, I don't know, should I be doing this? This is kind of, y'all, how you just love to learn, and don't do that.
I am so glad that you decided to join us.
I was just like, but I have to say, it would be, well worth. And I've been talking to people. I called a young woman that worked for me yesterday who's in academia. Well, she finished her PhD, and she's stressed because she's not going back into the big academic role. She's young, but she was actually a dean at one point. And, we're talking about academia and the craziness of it, and how she said, oh, Dr. Kat, they're going to be losing people in 10 years. Like, people like me are not. I said, oh, no. I didn't say they're already losing people like water. It's like sieve in academia because of the culture and the environment and what's asked of people. But I said to her, think about this, blah, 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 and you have your 8-year-old child, blah, 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 blah. Do you think, she said, well, I don't know, I'm wasting everything. No, you're not. You said your focus is him. And she said, he only has 8.5 more years. Yes. And I talked to her about this. I tried to invite her to join this, because she started a book 2-3 years ago, and she hasn't, and I also said, how's that working for you? She said, oh, you're becoming a coach. You're coaching me. And I didn't even say anything. I kept coaching. Yes. So you're saying that, you have your own book in the works and you want to publish it, but you're telling me you haven't made much progress with that since 2020. But you are able to tell me, and I can name 10 things, but I'll tell you 5 things that you've accomplished since 2021, actually the latter part of 2021, major things. So why wouldn't you, so beating yourself and saying, hey, Hannah, you should be doing this and getting your book published now, blah, 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 blah. How's that been working for you? I said, why wouldn't you want to join and work with some other folks who are doing the same thing and leverage that opportunity to help you to move forward with your own? So I was saying to her that this is a grand opportunity, and I would suggest or recommend she would do something like this.
Wonderful.
So, and so a lot of people, that's why, and several people who are in one of my tribes that I run have signed up. So
wonderful. Well, I appreciate you sharing the word about it and recommending it. That's wonderful. Thank you for the kind words.
I just want to add on to something that Kim said, which is, Latara, thank you, because you're the one that put all these speakers together. You had the vision about what are the pieces you wanted to put together to provide this great content. So thank you for doing that.
Yes, I'm glad I was able to serve you in this manner. So I appreciate it, and I appreciate you showing up consistently. Kimberly, you've been here every day, so I appreciate that. All right. So
Cool.
So awesome. All right, I'll go ahead and unspotlight you. But I did want to say one more thing about omnipresence, because I feel like maybe that triggered some people. You don't have to be everywhere all the time. You can kind of scatter it. You don't have to do all the social media platforms all of the days. You can stagger it so you're only doing certain things in certain days. Also, you don't have to go to all of them. I don't even know if I can name all of the social media platforms, but I know, because I've done my homework, I know what social media platforms I want to focus on based on my target audience. My target audience is pretty much like, women over 50, post career, wanting to start their own business. So those two, there are people like that are on Instagram, but they're primarily on LinkedIn and Facebook. Kimberly, for you, maybe LinkedIn is your go-to platform because of the people that you're trying to attract. So focus on what type of people are on that platform to make that decision. So yeah, I only focus on like 3 of them tops, like as a very solid, consistent thing. I have platforms that I go to frequently, but just not as frequently. Like I would say I go to Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram a little bit less than those two. So those two are, Facebook and LinkedIn are my primary ones. And then I go to Instagram next, YouTube, Pinterest, and Alignable. I don't go to the other ones that are like more trendy for the younger crowd, because I'm not trying to attract the younger crowd. So once you know who you're trying to go after, that will help you figure out which ones you want to spend your time on as well. So maybe that will help with the overwhelm part of it.
Well, yeah, but you're on IG.
I am on Instagram, like but I don't focus on it as much.
No, I know. Somebody asked me, this guy asked me today, do you have an Instagram account? And I said, yeah, I do. I just don't use it very often. But once you get really good, you can take some things, import it. You can make a short video for something else, that kind of stuff, all that kind of stuff. I'm pulling stuff from my LinkedIn now to my YouTube channel that I had pre-pandemic, that kind of stuff. But you said alignable. I know what it is. I'm on it. I don't use it very often. Can you tell us, how you find it and such, alignable? What do you think about it?
Yeah, Alignable is more for local businesses. If you really want to network with your very close community, that seems to be the main audience that you're going to be reaching. because if you're trying to expand out from your local neighborhoods, you actually have to start paying. But it's good for local businesses. It's good for brick and mortar businesses, service providers, that kind of thing. So like I said, it just really depends on what you're going after. Like Kimberly, who would you say is your main demographic that you're targeting?
Demographic is probably women over 30, because they're academic women. And people were saying, and I was saying, struggling with blah, 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 the demands of teaching scholarship and service. I've reframed that recently. Women who are in academia are already successful. And I did a post yesterday to say, this is how you're already successful. If you look at this, if you look at this, having a job in a university is 0.9% of the US employment. And if you're talking about a full-time faculty role, it's even less than 0.9%. And only 13.97% of Americans have an advanced degree. So we teach these women that they're not successful and they have to do all these things. Like I said to someone today, you have to be a slave. You have to be a slave in the university. And when you're in my field, your students get out undergraduate, and in the field, they make more money than you do at the university as soon as they get out of undergraduate. But you have to be a slave in living this life that has all these things you're supposed to be good at. 3 types of job: research, scholarship, and teaching and service. Else you can't be promoted anything. But so we've acculturated folks to think, particularly women, that they're not successful, they're not good enough, and they have to, and so it's these women, and probably by the time you get to the tenure, because of what it takes to get the PhD or whatever, you might even be more like 40 and above. And so it's those kind of women. Now, I notice a lot of my academic friends, I never see on LinkedIn. They're on Facebook, right? But then there's so many other folks on, because now there's something crazy, and I don't know what it is, Facebook. I mean, I don't know how many it is on Facebook, but I know on LinkedIn, I don't know the number. It's like 1 billion people or something like that on Facebook or something. But yeah, so the demographic that I'm supposed to be reaching as a whole, you would think would be on LinkedIn. And then there are, of course, people who it would be replicated on Facebook, right? But I could focus on Facebook. And someone made a point that Facebook is about I. This was recently, and they gave examples.
Facebook is about what?
About I. I did this. I am this. And LinkedIn is about we.
Oh, interesting.
Yes,
I like that.
And if you read, it is. It's very interesting. It's about the collective.
Okay, I like that distinction. So based on that, I don't think Alignable is quite congruent, because it's more business and not and it's not very academic. Facebook, like you said, is more about I, but it's also more social. It's more friends hanging out kind of vibe, and LinkedIn is more professional. It's more catered to small business owners and entrepreneurs, whereas Facebook kind of penalizes entrepreneurship a little bit. I hate to say it, but it's true. So I think that you're on the right path there with Facebook and LinkedIn. That's a good combination.
And Alignable, I get the notifications, to my email each day. And one of the tribes that I formed last year, we're all over the country. And so we all kind of got on, because someone told me she had gotten more. But I think what she was saying, she may have been saying, and I didn't get this clearly from her, she did more growing her business on Alignable in 4 months than she did on LinkedIn for 2 years or something more, like that. But and I see all the things that come up on Alignable. And so the people too who recommended me or whatever, they're all over the country, but because we knew each other, you know what I'm saying? And I knew them, that kind of stuff. So I always think, oh, maybe one day I should get into Alignable. Maybe it is if I really want to build myself locally with people who are in the same way locally.
Right. Yeah. And you can focus on like the colleges If that's probably what you've been doing with LinkedIn, correct?
Kinda, yeah. And someone who's really good on LinkedIn, and the whole thing, guys, about having pillars that frame your business, but frame your posts. Your post could be framed by some pillars. Like, let's say it's empowerment. Oh, 3 other things, whatever. Self-actualization and something else. And everything should come out of that. One person told me that she thought I had FOMO. And I didn't know what that was. And so fear of missing out for other people who were like me, who didn't know what it was. But I thought that I should be doing or maybe this way, because at the core of what I'm trying to help with is helping these successful people give some attention to wellness and self-actualization. So, but now I understand more fully too what she was saying, that can be something that you use as a strategy for them, you help them with, but to attract them, why are you talking so much about self-wellness and showing people how to move, or whole food diets and that kind of stuff?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like there would be a huge need for that, especially when people are experiencing burnout, overwhelm, being underappreciated, possibly not having enough self-worth as a result of the demands on them. So it just seems to me like that does fill a huge need. You just need to connect with that pain point.
Well, guess what? Linda Sunshine West told me on when we were talking on Sunday before the live. She's told me, Kimberly, can I say something about that? We were talking something about that kind of, and she said, may I say something about that? And I said, sure. She said, do you know that wellness is scary? And she said, and I was like, what? In my mind, I'm like, okay, why would people be afraid? And she was like, no, I can very much see that some of those terms might be scary to people and overwhelming in themselves. I was like, wow. So that's why you have to be able to hear what people are saying and stuff, so that you can, right?
Wow. Okay. Great insight, Kimberly. I appreciate your awesome questions that led us to all of this juicy information. So I appreciate that. All right. So thank you, Facebook, for for watching, and I hope that you've been enjoying this content. I dropped the link in the chat, and if you're if you're interested in getting lifetime access to the replays, I'll also put the link to the VIP upgrade in there as well, so you get access to that and all the recordings of the lives on Facebook, as well as the after parties. So with that, I'm going to say goodbye to Facebook. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful day. We're looking forward to seeing you. Oh gosh, I almost forgot to say, tomorrow is the bonus day that I wasn't actually going to have, but I wanted to make sure that we have a transformational coach on to talk about imposter syndrome and procrastination, as well as self-worth. So if that is the thing that is stopping you after getting all of this information this week, if that's what's stopping you from moving forward in either authorship or any of these things that we've talked about, then you need to be here tomorrow, and that's the last day of the summit. So we hope to see you tomorrow. Thank you very much.